creating forms in Acrobat. We have a form tool in Acrobat that helps to define interactive form fields that can collect data from a reader, and it also will allow us to send that data back to us. So one can create, distribute, and collect information from a form. Let's convert an electronic file into a form. So I have this Word document open right now, and I need to save this to Acrobat to allow it then to get to the form tool. So I could do this in a couple of ways. I can do a file, and I could do a save as here and save it as an Adobe PDF if you have this option on your file menu. That's one method. If I do that, it will save it. Let's go ahead and save it right here. And by default, it's going to open it in Acrobat. So whether you have that set to Reader or to Acrobat Pro. Mine opened in Acrobat Pro, which is exactly what I want. I typically look here and see, now this is a multiple page document. There are 3 pages. There's going to be a bookmark here. It looks like an initial starting. I could bookmark if I wanted to, but that's not what my point is. I want to create a form. So I'm going to convert this electronic file now into a form. Over under Tools here, we have Forms. I'm going to collapse that one and open up Forms. It doesn't look like it's much. It looks very, very simple. There are some more options here. But what I'm going to do is click Create. When I click Create, I get a box, a little dialog box that opens up. It says, do you want to create a form? How would you like to create that? Do you want to create it from scratch or using a template? Or do you want to create it from an existing document, which is what I want to do. I want to use this as an existing document that I actually have open right now. So in this form wizard, I'm going to choose from existing document and click Next. So then again it says, well, what document do you want to use? And I do want to use my current document. I could choose another file or I could scan a paper form. I'm going to choose current document though, because again, I want to use this document. Continue. And you notice there's a little bit of a status bar that ran through at the bottom there. If you have a lot going on, there's a high likelihood that it will take a little bit. It might take a few seconds to run through it. So now I have a form editing little box here. It says you are in form editing mode. So I've changed and now I'm into my form area. So I'm not in my regular tools are not visible at the moment. So to access more Acrobat tools, I need to choose Close from Editing, the form editing right up here if I want to get back to where I'm at my normal Acrobat Pro interface. So Acrobat searched through this performance interview planning checklist document. It was a PDF, and it automatically then detected what it thought to be form fields. I'll click OK. And we can take a look here. So under my tasks, I can add more new fields. I can edit fields. I can distribute. I can do some other tasks. So this is where I distribute the form to collect the responses. And here are all of my fields. And if I scroll down here, you'll see that it does kind of a pre-numbered sequence that Acrobat throws on it. So if it can attempt to name it, like my comments are all named comments, I do have these broken into different pages. Let's just look at page 1 here. So I have my first comment, then I have comment 2, comment 3, comment 4. So it did a fairly good job of creating those form fields. It also created little boxes here for my different types of forms as well. And it attempted to put something here. Now I can move these around. Okay, with my selection tool here, I'm able to click on an object and move it around. So it thought that maybe I wanted to put something there. If I don't want that, I'm just going to press my delete key and it is gone. Okay. If I wanted to, I can double click, and I slightly moved it. I mean, to make sure I don't. You might want to align those to make sure they're clean and neat. So here is actually my text field properties, and this is what I would get if I were to create a new form, a new field in my form as well, which I'll do for you in a moment. So I have my name and I have my tooltip. So this is when someone's opening this in Acrobat Reader, they see the tooltip. And of course that the form is visible. I can choose that to be hidden. I can choose it to be visible but doesn't print, which may make it be a cleaner hidden but printable, which may allow you to see it. So depending on how the purpose of this. Under appearance, again, I can put a border and fill on this if I would like. The font size is automatic and it's set to Helvetica. I can choose to set a specific size if I want this to be 10, so that when the user enters in data, it will be set at 10-point black at Helvetica. Again, the positioning. Again, I want to maybe make sure that I have these all consistent. Options. Okay, I can check spelling so my user is able to get a little bit of a spell check. Allowing multiple line, that maybe is better for this case than scrolling. You could leave scrolling on as well, but when you scroll, you'll end up seeing the first part of your text, and then it will scroll quite a long distance, potentially very long, depending on how much text is entered. You can initiate an action here, so I can open a web link, I can do all of these different actions. I can do some formatting here, I can validate it, and I could do some calculations. So a lot of things capable in a form. I'm going to close this and show you how I can add a new form field. So I can add different types. Everything that was added in this case was a text field. Notice the little T on the icon in my defined text fields, and so that indicates that these actually are text fields as well. Maybe not exactly what I want. A radio button may be better here, where I have a sequence of it's either yes, no, or not required. It can't be all, where you're making them check one. I could do a checkbox as well. So let's just do a checkbox, and I'll just show you. I'll put it right here just to show you. So here it is. Again, I can name it, and then I'm going to go into all properties to see my properties for this field. So again, I can put a tooltip there if I want. The appearance, this time it does have a border color and a fill of white if that's what I want. My size dimensions, the box type, okay, so I can check it. I can do a circle, across, a diamond, a square, star, a lot of options there. And then actions if I wanted it to link. Okay, so I can go and play with these different form fields. A lot of different options here. OK buttons, radio buttons. Again, the radio button is part of a group. So this is one button in a group. At least two buttons are needed, so I can add another button here. And this is where something I would put over top of these, and I could add another button. And I can relocate these if I decide to use that instead of my text here. Okay, so then I'm going to go to all properties and then change whatever I want here, click close. So now that's part of a group. If I'm ready with all of my fields done, then I can go ahead and close form editing. And so here's what I see, and my PDF now has this green bar at the top that says this file includes fillable form fields. I can print the completed form, save it. And so here's the different options. Again, I'm going to use these buttons here to look at them, and there's the how it will work. So my user and the radio buttons can only check one of the three because it's part of a group. Remember, a radio button, you can only have one option selected of the group. Here, this actually is a text box. You can see I get a flashing and cursor indicating that it's wanting text. This is not the right field for this. I should put my radio buttons here instead, or checkbox. I can check and uncheck. And then comments, of course, I can enter my comments, and I had it still being centered, so that's why it went to the center. You can left align it or however you would choose. And it allows me to do multiple lines, so I can enter, text on multiple lines if I'd like. So that's the form. If you practice a little bit more with it, you'll understand the different types of fields and the capabilities that a form has. And this is nice now that I save this. If I were to do a file and save or resave over top of this PDF, I can send this to my users and they will be able to enter in this information.